It is Alpha X's Vindicta.
And his opponent in the upper right-hand corner, it is Semper.
Now, it is important to note as well that we almost never see Beckett Industries, and we're seeing it this game. I'm happy about that, you know?
Yeah, you know what? With best of threes, I never expect to see this map. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, like endangered species rare. Like, it is just not something we see, like you said, in a best of three. And honestly, we usually don't see it even in a best of five. This is usually something that only comes out in best of sevens. And at that point, only when you actually have, you know, a situation where it's not someone coming up from the loser bracket. Because in that situation, usually one player gets a one-map advantage, and it depends on the rules of the tournament, but if there's a veto, you're probably going to see whoever gets it veto that map.
Yeah, I mean, we do see this occasionally. It depends on the matchup, I think. A lot of times we'll see it if a Zerg is okay with being on it, because a lot of times the Zergs are the ones who really don't want to be on this map, but a Terran or a Protoss might not mind playing a Zerg on this map. So if a Zerg has a good strategy, like really digging the Queen Walks or something, you'll see this map pop up. It's not as rare as some maps we've had in past map pools. I do feel like I just saw this like the other day in EPT Open Cup, you know?
Yeah.
But it's definitely the least seen map in our pool. Interesting that we're seeing it in a TVT. I don't really think I've seen a TVT on this map.
I feel like
it feels a little weird.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a bizarre map overall, so it creates weird situations, and I feel like players are not as fond of that. That being said, you know, if something doesn't get vetoed, there's a reason. There's a reason. Like, players are clearly okay playing on it. We are seeing a factory expand coming out of both players. Very interestingly, we see Semper going for... Actually, both players going for a pretty quick tech lab here. Neither of them getting a Hellion is actually very surprising to me.
It is. I wonder if that's a map size thing, or I don't really know. This is so interesting. We've got Double Reaper on the way for Vindicta, but Semper diving in with 2 Reapers before they can pop out for Vindicta.
And he's going to get 2 SCVs for that. He also got these...
He can just dip out of here, grab this one, and then leave.
Oh, that's so nice. Ooh, Vindicta. Oh, will get the kill.
Gets the kill.
Almost a perfect grenade from Semper to save it, but not quite.
It was a very good grenade, but Vindicta had just enough counter micro to be able to get it off. Semper's got the Cyclone back at home, and this is the nice thing about the Cyclone is the 3 Reapers coming across the map just isn't all that scary.
No, not even a little. In fact, we might even see 2 speaking of good grenades, nice job right there from Vindicta. Yes. But still losing one of those Reapers, not ideal. He did make use of those acceleration zones to cut off Semper's second Reaper, and did get the kill there. So really, really nice use of the map from Vindicta. Semper, I don't think is playing as much, so maybe didn't even factor that in. That's the kind of thing that you wouldn't think about. Ooh, misses the...
Okay, there we go. Missed tech lab. Happens to the best of them.
He recognized it immediately, though, so no damage done, really. And it's going to be Raven coming out from both players.
Yeah, not too shocking here. Now, we were talking about it a little bit, actually. Whether or not we're going to see some mech here, in particular from Vindicta. He's somebody who I feel like I've seen a lot of mech TVT from. Now, I don't know if we're going to see it today. It's hard to say. I generally favor Marine Tank. I just think it's a stronger composition. But Vindicta loves to play like big, heavy set mech. Get the bases, turrets, big tank spread, sensor towers, that kind of a TVT. And small maps can weirdly be very good for mech.
Yeah, no.
Because they have a lot less area to cover, right?
Yeah. Counterattacks are a lot less powerful. Specifically on this map, there's a lot of tight chokes around your bases. Mm-hmm. Of course, you've got these rocks right here. You've got this narrow choke coming in. There's a very narrow choke approaching the other, I guess, more traditional linear third. this is a pretty good mech map, and this explains probably why Vindicta didn't veto it. And yeah, I'm interested to see. I kind of hope we see that.
It looks like it's going to be bio from Semper, which is, again, it's not surprising. We don't see a lot of mech in TVT, which is why I always think of Vindicta specifically, because nobody else really does it that often. But I still think there's a lot of validity in it.
Ooh, we are going to see these
going down to shove the Reapers away.
Honestly, those Reapers were pretty useless, so he gets 1 SCV, which is kind of nice. 2 Marines just went down. Was that? Oh, Cyclone. Ooh, Cyclone picks off 3 Marines. Damn. He's a hunter-killer Cyclone.
Cyclones moving out of the map. They're silly-looking units, Cyclones.
Oh, they are funny to look at, aren't they? They're just little...
I feel like they're unlike anything else in StarCraft, and it's a little strange, but I also kind of love how there's just like one on each side.
Yeah.
And they're just rolling around. Vindicta loses his, but he does get to see what's coming his way. He's got 3 defensive Ravens to the 2 of Semper. Semper also used a little energy earlier to drop an auto turret. So he does have to be careful out here. He could get shut down, locked down very harshly.
Yeah, but it's actually going to be Semper getting a really nice position. Oh, never mind. We're going to see interference matrices and a lot of auto turrets drop. But is that going to be enough? Vikings
Vindicta
coming up from
very
Semper.
Clumped here. I do not like the way those tanks where they got stuck on themselves. And Semper is left with 2 tanks left up, just putting pressure onto this base.
He will... Oh, he does win the fight in that tank versus tank war. But ultimately, Vindicta keeps 4 out of his 5 tanks alive, whereas Semper loses 3. So that looked initially very, very good for Semper, and he does come out of it ahead in supply and ahead in resources lost. And ahead in Viking count. So, you know what? Even though he loses those tanks, I think he's still ahead. Oh, yeah, all the Ravens went down.
The Ravens are the big deal. Semper lost 1, and Vindicta lost all 3. And that is just massive. I think Vindicta had an okay shot there, but the choke point, just like you were talking about, came into play. He tried to get down that ramp, and his tanks just got stuck on one another. 2 of his tanks weren't doing anything the entire fight. And really did not work out for Vindicta. Now he's going to try to just hold this 3rd base position. He is going into bio, so all that mech talk was incorrect. But we've got 1-1 on the way for both players. And now, the thing about TVT is the defensive position is always going to be stronger. But on the other hand, I really prefer the player who is attacking and being aggressive, because you're forcing resieges, you're forcing the units to move around. And just like this, Vindicta's suddenly out of position. These tanks and this Raven are going to start putting pressure on the mineral line. And once the tanks are sieged up, how does Vindicta go break this? He doesn't have Ravens. He doesn't have air control. Vikings landing to take down all of these tanks. Semper is actually just dominating this game right now.
He even gets the Viking as it comes back up. This is so good for Semper. He used that position to, or use that move to actually leapfrog his tanks forward, and now he threatens this command center. Oh, we're going to see a huge SCV pull, but the stim is ready.
No.
Oh, no. And he's going to land on top of the tank.
I think that might just be the end of the game. 30 SCVs going down. Vindicta clears this, but technically, you know, it's a technical clear. He's down army supply. He's down less than half the workers of his opponent. And Semper's about to do a drop in the main. Look at where that sensor tower does not cover. Just enough space for 2 medevacs.
That's what we call a Pyrrhic victory. That is where you win, but it's at such disastrous cost that you lose the war. And we are going to be seeing a really nice siege up here. SCV is going to be pulled once again. 5 of them already going down. 44 have gone down in this game. Oh, a little bit of F2 syndrome right there.
Vindicta going to go for the counter, but it gets absolutely shut down. And Semper, that was a dominating game. That was actually really, that was unexpected. For me anyways, but really well played by Semper.
Yeah, that was great. That was a quality move out of Semper. he looked really, really sharp right there. Like that push, everything just looked great. Yeah, I'm glad to see Semper looking sharp, and that gets me pretty excited for his prospects of making it out of this group. That being said, Vindicta, he needs to fix a couple of things. He still did break that push, but he let Semper get into position a couple of times, and Semper, once he got rolling, he just would not be stopped. Even that counterattack, he dealt with it nicely. He was ready to counter drop that drop by bringing units out of the main base on top of the drop. It was just a really, really nice play, and I'm feeling confident about Semper getting out of this group after seeing this game one.
Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same way. If he continues playing like that, I don't see how Semper doesn't get out of the group. He's just looking that good. Obviously, there's still a lot of competition left, but that was really impressive. I do think some of that is on Vindicta, though. He had the tools to hold that push, the first push, and he just didn't quite handle it correctly. And from there on out, it was an uphill battle, and he wasn't quite able to make it. Semper didn't make a mistake that was able to get Vindicta back in the game. Vindicta didn't force any mistakes. He just didn't have time. Semper kept the pressure on and kept finding the openings.
Absolutely. Now I realize what I've said about Semper making it out of the group. His first 3 matches are TVT, and that's something I don't think anyone would ever expect in a North American group. I just want to put that out there. That's hilariously uncommon. And here we go. We're going to be getting into game number 2, spawning down in the bottom right position of Romanticide. It is the Red Terran player. He is Canadian. He is Semper, the Semp God.
And his opponent in the upper left-hand corner, gonna need to pull it back now to live up to his nickname of Vindicta. It is Alpha X's Vindicta.
And we are going to be seeing another quick double gas out of both players. I do like I've talked about this a fair bit, but the fact that TVT has kind of switched from the gas first to, gas, barracks, gas, into barracks, gas. It's just a small little difference, but you get your orbital command like 3-4 seconds earlier, and it's still safe. You still get that super quick factory.
There you go. I think we see a lot less like proxy reapers as well, which might affect little meta shifts like that, where
definitely
something that you need to get the factory out as soon as possible, or the proxy reaper kills you. It's like, well, a couple seconds later is actually okay, because you just don't see it that often, and people have gotten better at dealing with it in any case. And these days it's very uncommon to see somebody not go for double gas factory before expand. That's the standard TVT.
Yeah, you do see that Reaper expand from time to time, just the one gas, but it seems like so many players are going for this, and because of the kind of advent of this build, where it doesn't hamper your economy as much as, the gas first double gas, players are comfortable doing it. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, things just work. It's kind of like the difference between a 17 hatch and a 16 hatch. There's nice little advantages with that. So a 16 hatch, when the spawning pool completes, you start both queens simultaneously, which means when you're injecting, you inject simultaneously. It's just little quality of life differences that make the race smoother to play.
I don't care if 17 hatch makes you 500 extra minerals over the course of the first few minutes. To have the queen start at the same time is worth it.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I'll give you another 500 minerals for that. Screw it. Make it 1,000.
Right?
I think the Pretenders have a song about that.
Give me the same energy on my queens. That's right. The queen's walking 500 miles. And then they turn around and walk 500 more.
Oh, God. Imagine a queen walking 500 miles off creep.
Oh, no, dude.
Ooh, nice trap from Semper, and he is going to get at least one Reaper. Oh, as the grenade hits.
The grenade's very good, though. Keeping Semper back a little bit, but
he'll
Vindicta,
lose another one.
Yeah, it's dicey. Those Hellions are just slightly faster than the Reapers.
Oh, nice grenade, but also nice reaction time from Semper. Semper does have one more Reaper, which is big problems for Vindicta. Oh, when he pulls the boys into it, does lose one. And this command center might be delayed. Oh boy, this is actually, this is so out of hand. 4 SCVs have already gone down.
Is Vindicta just not having a good series? He's trying to get into Marines. He's got a Cyclone almost done, but I mean, this is just brutal. This is already such a good trade for Semper. And Semper doesn't even really need to do too much more. He just needs to posture and delay the SCV from coming down. If he leaves once the Cyclone pops out, I mean, this is just a great position for Semper already.
He doesn't even lose the Hellion. Are you kidding me? Oh god.
And
Oh
look,
god.
that Widowmine. Oh
okay,
no, it's
just
at least going to get a Reaper.
If it had gotten the Cyclone, that could have
Oh my
actually
God.
been GG right there, because Vindicta's not building another Cyclone. And for the first time ever, I saw Widowmine hit a Cyclone, and it does one-shot it, in case you're
Really?
wondering. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because Cyclones,
No.
they're made of paper. They only have 120 HP.
Oh, you're right. Oh my god. I never, ever thought about that.
It's a unit
I would-
interaction that never happens.
I would for sure have thought it would be left with like 20 or 30 HP, which
Yep.
still, it would have died to Hellions and a Reaper, but I would never have expected a one-shot. That is too funny. You learn something new every day, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. And we still have that Widowmine here. These two Hellions are going to come across the map, but there is a tank here. Tank doesn't get bonus damage versus Hellions, but it still hits pretty damn hard.
Yeah, those Hellions just gotta run away.
I like this little
Vindicta-
patrol move.
That's kind of cute. What is he expecting back there? Just for drops?
Maybe a Raven comes by, maybe he spots that. Yeah, I'm
yeah, there you
not
go.
sure.
It looks very specifically timed. You know, like
It-
it's
it
there
is,
for
yeah.
a Banshee or something, because he's moved it now, so it was just temporary.
But class is permanent.
That's right. That's right. Unfortunately, if you're in high school, that means whatever class that you had most recently, you'll have that for the rest of your life. Sorry to tell you.
Yeah, good luck. And we are seeing the cascading effects of those 4 SCVs going down. The production of Vindicta is significantly delayed. Hold that thought. He's actually going for Vikings right now, which means he wants to probably make a push. They're such expensive units, and they're so you have so little production as Terran in the early game, right? But because Vikings are so expensive, you can spend all of your money, even off 3 command centers like this, for a while. And Semper, he's going to scout this. He's going to scan the Vikings popping out.
Oh my god.
That is
You know what?
really
Semper
great
already has
information.
his own Vikings. Even if Vindicta goes for a push, Semper's going to have defensive Vikings by the time he gets across the map. There is not going to really be a chance for Vindicta to have too much air superiority. And yeah, like you're saying, Semper's infrastructure is up earlier. So he's got those extra barracks. He's going to have more units moving out. Oh, those are factories, though. Vindicta going for mech. And I think this is the right call, because he's behind, right? And in a mirror matchup, when you're behind, you don't usually want to make the same units as your opponent. Mech is generally considered more cost efficient and more defensive, and I think that's what Vindicta wants right now, is he's a little behind economically, he's a little behind in terms of army supply. But if he can make that slightly stronger composition, maybe he can be okay. But we'll have to see. Semper's army is going to be much more mobile, and again, he's the one putting pressure on, which is going to force Vindicta to respond. And it's really difficult to keep your tanks and Marines and whatever else you have in position in TVT. That's actually why the aggressor has a little bit, I give the aggressor a little bit of a favor there, because you're forcing your opponent to respond to you. You're one step ahead. It's like going first in chess, and you're always going first. That's kind of how it is in TVT.
Ooh, Cyclone gets a lock on the Viking, will get picked off. Yeah, that's a really great way of putting it. 1-1 does complete here for Semper. His armory was a little bit delayed. I was going to say belated. Delayed.
He was belayed. He belayed it down a mountain.
Oh, yes, belay that order. Take us, helmsman, take us out of orbit. Now, I wanted to talk about this before. I noticed that this sensor tower, super far forward. And
Right on
Semper,
the
he
edge.
noticed the same thing.
Yeah,
He just takes it out.
He just took it out. That's
That's
beautiful.
That's a gas building.
Yeah, those are expensive.
That's 100 gas. That's a lot. That's as though he basically almost killed a Viking right there.
Yeah.
in terms of cost. That's really good.
And it's just for free. Well, he did lose 1 Marine, so technically not for free.
You know,
Well, I'm
depending on
interested
whose
in
army,
how-
they would count that as free.
That's true. Yeah. I'm interested in how Semper's going to deal with mech. Because there are a few different ways. You can either... I mean, you can just play Marine Tank Viking and just trying to kind of outposition your opponent, catch them off guard with their tanks in siege. You can stim in and get a good tank siege up. You could go heavy into bio, so a lot of Marines and Marauders especially. Get those upgrades as quick as possible, and then just, again, counterattacks, try to catch your opponent off guard. If you get a good spread, tanks do not deal with big surrounds well of a lot of bio. Or, and this is my possibly favorite way to deal with Mech Terran, is you go for air control. You get a good amount of Marine tank out, and then you just drop starports. Semper, as if on cue, is getting +1 ship weapons and 2 more starports. Beautiful. And I love this. He's going to go heavy Vikings. He can get into Liberators, Ravens, potentially battle cruisers. And Vindicta's stuck on the ground right now, though there will be an opportunity for Vindicta to just say, well, I have too many tanks and you don't have enough to deal with it. That's a possibility as well. But things, I think we're going late on this one.
I think there's a very good chance of this. Now we are going to be seeing triple medevac getting spotted by Blue Flame Hellions, but we're also seeing the triple medevac spot the Blue Flame Hellions, and that's going to allow Semper to deal with this, take no damage, only loses a couple Marines. Nice job. Yeah. 1 Marine. Wow, not bad at all. I do want to point out, we got Vindicta going straight up into Thors here. I do want to point out the importance of the scouting in this situation. Oh, wow. Big stim coming on in. I don't know. Okay, he's going to just, take some position that he can. Oh, if he gets that Raven. Okay, no, I'm not going to be able to do so.
Anti-armor missile, very nice.
A little bit of Dorito dust right there.
Marine's getting a little bit of damage done. A couple of them dying.
Yikes. See how that shows up in the battle report. It does not. That's very funny. Actually, no, it would, but it wouldn't show up as a building. It just shows up as resources. We are going to be seeing this mass Liberator switch out of Semper. Does he have the Viking lead? He's up by 2. That's not necessarily enough for me to be confident that he can switch over because his opponent will have Thors. And that will make things a little bit complicated. I do like that Vindicta is, trying to make these Hellion run-bys happen. What do you think? What do you think about this this Liberator switch? Do you think it's too early or do you think it's well-timed?
Well, Liberators take a long time to build. I don't mind him making them now. He might be able to get a little harassment done. Maybe he's just going to try to use them to zone. In Viking versus Viking battles, they can be really useful. You get 1 or 2 shots off, and that's a lot of splash damage onto the Viking clump. I need to go right back into Vikings after this. Because, like you said, the Thors equalize that Viking battle a little bit. They have a huge range. We could see shutdowns on the Thors as well. There's only ever going to be a few Thors. So the Raven spells can be really useful there.
That is a really, really great point. We are going to see a nice turret ring here. Well, turret setup. But, oh man, Semper gets a big volley. Kills off all 3 of those turrets pretty much immediately. And the sensor tower and the gas. This is already a successful push.
Those Liberators a little too far forward. They get shut down. Huge anti-armor missile, but the Thor's coming into play. Going to be able to zone those Vikings a little bit. Huge shutdowns on the siege tanks so that these tanks can move forward for Semper. And this 3rd is under fire. And Semper, in the meantime, he is expanding. So he's putting pressure on a 3rd while he's taking a 5th. And that is a really big deal. Semper going to have a huge lead in terms of mining. The worker count's even, but this mining is going to be a really big deal. He's already taken a good trade. If he can just get out of here without losing too much, I think that's going to be good for Semper. I'm actually surprised he's moving forward. He must be feeling real strong about this position.
And to be honest, he should. He's got so many tanks. He has he has more tanks than his opponent in a situation where his opponent's going mad. Picks down a couple of Vikings right there. He's going to find even a supply depot here. So there's something really cool that happened
Oh,
in this
God.
game. Oh, man, he's going to find another tank. Yes, he will. Vindicta, late on the scan. He's going to lose potentially... Oh, my... He loses so many tanks. So there's something really cool that happened. Vindicta overreacted to the Liberators, and Semper, he hadn't seen mech until he started his second factory. So he went for a ton of tanks, and he kind of baits his opponent. Oh, another great interference matrix. He baits his opponent into reacting against this, and just goes heavy into tanks.
Is so clinical. Yeah, the huge tank count is really nice against these very quick Thors. The Thors, they're pretty good against Liberators, but they're not a 100% answer. Liberators are still decent against Thors, and when they have tanks underneath, the Thors do not do well. This counterattack seems like a good idea, but it feels like a hodgepodge of units. There's not much here for Semper, but I mean, Semper did a lot of damage on the other side of the map. Vindicta's got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, if we look at the resources lost, even with a pretty nice position here that Vindicta has grabbed for himself, it's double. Semper is absolutely wreaking havoc on his opponent. He's going to come in here, he's going to clear out the Liberators and Vikings. Liberators of his own are going to siege up. Look at those Thors get deleted. Yeah. Oh my god.
And that's what I'm
everything
talking
dead.
about. You like 4 Liberators on top of a couple Thors, and it's just too much. Semper is scanning to see what's going on, sees the 5th base, sees that the 3rd has been relanded, but isn't quite mining yet, and is probably feeling pretty okay about his situation. He's getting 3-3 for his bio. He's mostly just making Marauders now, which they tank fire quite a lot better, and they do a lot of damage against Thors.
Yes.
Hellions, they're very good against. So I really like the position Semper has put himself in.
Oh, I love it. He's in such a strong position. He is playing out a methodical, just textbook bio versus mech setup. And Vindicta, I don't know, man. Like, what does he really do here? He is still maxed out, and he's still got, well, nearly maxed out. And he's still got a scary army, and he's about to have +3 weapons, +3 armor, and ship plating isn't far behind. But we're also about to see 2-2 for these Liberators and Vikings. I'm not feeling good about Vindicta's spot. Oh, look at this.
No, he needs to take a great fight, and the problem with his army right now is it's just not. There's not a lot of like micro potential or engagement potential with it. Whereas with Semper, he's still got a lot of bio. So if Vindicta's out of position, the bio can stim, take a great position. He's got a lot of tanks. Tanks in a good position are just fantastic. The Liberators, same thing. Thors, you kind of just A-move Thors. That's about what you can do. And, oh my god, this air fleet is so big. Shutdowns on some of the Liberators, but there's not enough Raven energy for all of them. The Thors might win this fight, but the Vikings honestly can land. They can land here. They're not going to, but
I was going to say, I don't want to see that. That actually, Semper just lost so much. He just lost a ton of Liberators. He lost a bunch of Vikings as well, even though he did clear out his opponent's Vikings. That being said, the Bioforce should be able to get back here and easily clean this up. There's only 2
went
tanks.
Around this way. I feel like coming in for the flank could have been quite nice, but the command center's lifted so he can spread against these 2 tanks, like you said. Sieges up some of his own tanks, his own Liberators. He will clear this army. That was a much better fight for Vindicta than I expected it to be, and the supplies are still pretty equalized. The resources lost was about 5k, and it's a little bit more than that now. Vindicta's still not taking the best trades, but it's certainly a lot closer percentage-wise than it was before.
Vindicta has been out mining Semper for the last little bit here. We do see these tanks. They might kill off this planetary. Oh, they're getting a lot of damage done, but meanwhile on the other... Oh, never mind, these Liberators. Actually, wow, look at this. He's going Cyclones to try and deal with this, and he's going to take down 2 of the Liberators right there. On the bottom side, though, oh, Semper gets the kill before his opponent can get the repair. But on the other side, Vindicta kills that planetary as well. Widowmine does get it.
Widow Mines.
Okay position.
I love this. I love that Vindicta's got Widow Mines and Cyclones coming out. It's a totally different style that can take advantage of Semper maybe going too heavy into air. He's really got to be careful about that. Seeing Mass Raven now.
I like that decision. It does give you the ability to shut down Thors and tanks, but I get that's so many Liberators.
My god.
That being said, the Cyclones do have an angle where these Liberators can't really reach.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, just kidding.
What's the edge of a Liberator range versus the edge of Cyclone range?
I think a Cyclone would outrange if he got into range first, but you can see right there how quickly they go down.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a Widowmine going down. Not often you see that, and now the Vikings land with their smart servos, immediately delete that command center, and I gotta say, Semper has played such a fantastic game.
Yeah, he's trying to move these Liberators forward. A couple of them do get shot, but the Thors have to back up. Tanks getting taken out. This fight is going Semper's way. Those Liberators are actually going to get a few tanks here, but kind of an even trade. Again, the supply is actually in favor of Vindicta right now. So Semper has to be careful not to lose too many of those Liberators and Vikings. That's his big control right now as far as the army goes.
Semper's not on a good worker count. He's on... Oh, wow, Widowmine's getting a lot done. He's only on 59 workers right now. He's building 6 SCVs at a time, but I would expect to see him on, like, you know, like 85 workers right now.
Yeah.
This is...
Yeah, well, I think losing that base to the north side, he's now lost 13 SCVs down here. Vindicta's doing a lot of good work, and, you know, we usually think about, oh, the ground mech player has a lot of very expensive units, but the Liberators and Vikings are not cheap. And
no.
Semper has been kind of losing a lot, particularly the Liberators. He'll get some good damage done with them, but every time it feels like a good number of them go down. They take a long time to build, and they're very expensive.
You know what's so funny? If you told me that if you showed me this resource is lost and told me the game state and told me that it was Vindicta playing bio and Semper was playing mech, I would believe you, because it's 10,000 resources in favor of Semper, and Semper has 13 less workers, but the supplies are still pretty even. Like, it's just, this is so funny to look at. This is quite literally the exact opposite of what we normally should see.
Yeah, it's very strange how that's happening. We're actually seeing Semper go for the Corvid reactors. Oh no. The turrets. What is it with turrets on that part of the map today?
Right? They're so OP.
They're so good. I'm just going to build turrets there every single game.
I'm going to switch to Terran and just...
Magfield.
Turret rush, yeah.
There you go. Magfield Accelerator's taken down that command center very quickly. I don't want to say I'm surprised we're not seeing battlecruisers. I'm just a little disappointed because I love battlecruisers. And he's got all these air upgrades, and he's got Ravens coming out. I'd just love to see some BCs teleporting around, Yamatoing some stuff.
It'd be pretty fun. These Marines, one of them...
Oh, wow. Go.
That
look
Liberator.
Go. Get wrecked, Liberator.
Oh, big push coming in on the bottom left. Ooh, that missile turret. And the mirror missile turret gets a Liberator kill there as well.
Look at it go. Now, Vindicta's got more on the ground down there. Great Hellion run by. He's been trying these all games to finally get one to work. Is really nice. The Liberators, though, there's still not a lot of answer for them.
Yeah, they're really, really powerful right now. And army value, despite the army supply actually favoring Vindicta, it does favor Semper. This is not like we're watching Bizarro World, bio versus mech, you know?
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when it gets kind of crazy and you have the bio player go into air. Is it's almost just mech versus mech, but slightly different.
Yeah, it's different types of mech. Yeah.
Man, these turrets, such value.
Really. We do see Semper, though, clearing out that base. And now Vindicta, he is in a little bit of trouble. Oh, Semper, unfortunately, this base is misplaced a little bit, but it's not too bad. He's just like, you know what? High-yield geysers are OP. I'm just going to adjust for that. Oh, wow. Semper going to get some big interference matrices, huge ones. Liberator's trying to come in from the back, not going to be able to get too much damage. And Semper absolutely crushes Vindicta's army. Ravens were MVPs right there. Auto turrets, interference matrices, got everything done.
You know, Semper's been winning the majority of these trades. Again, the resources lost is more and more in his favor. But that was a huge fight for him, clearing out a lot of this army. More Ravens coming in for the interference matrices, and that's, I mean, that might just be able to seal the deal here. Vindicta trying to take the upper 2 bases, but if he's just losing his whole army and these Liberators are able to siege up, How is he going to keep pushing through?
This game is so far from what I expected. And I love it so much. Semper is playing such a fantastic game. I have never seen this kind of cost efficiency against mech. And I gotta say, as someone who's lost to mech a lot of times, this gives me so much joy. I just want to give Semper a big old kiss right now, you know?
It's really beautiful, right? Anybody who's played StarCraft on ladder knows how it is to face a mech player, and you just feel good watching the mech Terran get kind of picked apart. It's, you know, I do love Vindicta, and it's a little hard to watch because Semper has just been outplaying him this game. Even the times Vindicta seems to have won the fight, it always feels like he lost in terms of the resources lost.
Yeah.
And Semper has just had such good positioning in so many of these fights. Really, really great army control. And, yeah, I mean, Vindicta's very much on the back foot right now, desperately trying to get some mining up, but he's down workers, he's down army supply, he's down in bases. Semper has nearly his entire half of the map. Vindicta's losing yet another base.
Before I check, how many Thors do you think have gone down in this game?
Oh my god. It's got to be like 15.
I think it's like 30. All right, let's take a look at that. Resources lost. How 13. Wow, it's 13. Way less than I thought.
Yeah, honestly, that's not too bad. The Thors must be staying alive. It's
30 cyclones, yeah.
And 30 Liberators have gone down for Semper.
That is crazy. We are going to see the last mining base getting sieged right here. Vindicta not in time. The anti-armor missile on SCVs and 2 interference matrices. The Liberators there, king of the skies and king of the ground. The base goes down. Vindicta is going to be forced to tap out. Great moves out of Semper.